What's up guys, Groovy Guitar Dude here with a beginner guitar tutorial for Daylight by Taylor Swift. If this video helps you out, hit that like and subscribe button and let me know in the comments below what are the songs from Taylor Swift's new album Lover that you want to learn on guitar. Guys, the first thing that you want to know to play Daylight on guitar is that in order to get some bar chords and keep this as beginner friendly as possible, we're going to capo up to 5th fret. And if you don't have a capo, I'll have a link to get this capo for free right up here. The next thing that you want to know for Daylight is the structure of this song. We're going to start out with a verse, then go to pre-chorus, then chorus, then verse, pre-chorus, chorus again. Then we're going to have a bridge, and then we're going to go back to pre-chorus, and then we're going to finish up with one last chorus to take us out of the song. And the last thing that you want to know before we dive into Daylight is the 4 chords that we need to play this song. The first one is G. The next one is D. The next one is A minor. And the last one is C. And I'll have chord charts for all of those in the pinned comment below for those of you who need them. And with all that in mind, guys, let's dive into Daylight. Man, I really hope you guys don't mind me posting so many tutorials right in a row from Lover. I'm really connecting with the album the last couple of days, finally, and so I'm just sharing the songs that I'm really digging with you guys. So with that in mind, the first thing we're going to take a look at for Daylight is our verses. For our verses, we're just going to have one chord progression. We're going to have 2 strum patterns. I'll explain that in just a second. But first, let's take a look at our chord progression for our verses. For our verses, our chord progression is going to be G, A minor, and C. And we're going to actually hold that C out for 2 measures. That'll make a little bit more sense whenever I explain our strum pattern in just a second. So what we're going to do for our first verse strum pattern is just a single down strum for each one of those chords. So as an example, we'll go down, down, down. And we'll hold that C out twice as long for 2 measures as we would all of our other chords. So one more time, down, 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 down. Just like that. And that's just going to repeat a couple of times for our first verse. Now for our second verse, we're going to change things up just a little bit. Instead of using a single down strum for each one of those chords, we're instead going to use 8 palm muted down strums for each chord. We're going to play that C chord twice. So we'll play a total of 16 down strums for that C chord at the very end there because we're playing it for 2 measures. Now, if you don't know what palm muting is, it's a really simple technique. All you're going to do is take this part of your strumming hand right here, and you're going to rest it really close to your bridge on top of your strings, and you're just going to strum with that rested on your strings. And all it does is just kind of muffles the sound of the strum a little bit, the sound of the chord a little bit, and it gives a really cool kind of percussive sound that really mimics this song very well. So a little walkthrough of what that strum pattern for our second verse will be with our verse chord progression will look about like this. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then same thing as with our first verse, we're just going to repeat that chord progression and that strum pattern for our second verse a couple of times until we hit that pre-chorus after the second verse. So with all that in mind, guys, I'm going to run a couple of times through that first verse chord progression and strum pattern, and then a couple of times through the second verse chord progression and strum pattern so that you guys can get an idea of what it looks like. I'm just going to do a couple times through each, same chord progression, we're just switching up the strum pattern for the second verse. So a couple times through that will look about like this. And from there, guys, we're into what's being played for the entire rest of the song. So all of our pre-choruses, choruses, and our bridge. For that, what we're going to have is one chord progression and one strum pattern. This is, again, going to be what plays through most of the song, everything except for the verses. So first, let's take a look at that chord progression. Our chord progression that's going to play through all of our pre-choruses, choruses, and our bridge is going to be G, D, A minor, and C. Just repeated like that through everything except for the verses. And what we're going to do for our strum pattern is going to be really similar to what we were playing in our second verse, but we're going to do 16 palm muted down strums for each chord. That might sound a little bit intimidating, but don't worry, we're going to break it down. So what that'll look like is like this. We'll start with our G chord, and the biggest, most important tip I have for doing a long down strum pattern like this is to break it up a little bit, to count in sets of 4 or 8 to help you kind of keep your place a little bit. When you're counting to 16, it's easy to kind of lose your place. But if you count to maybe sets of 8, so 2 sets of 8 for each chord, that kind of helps me, and it might help you guys as well, just kind of keep your place. So a little example of that with our G chord would be something like this. We'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a little bit easier to follow in my mind whenever I'm doing my counting to make sure that I stay in the right spot than trying to count all the way up to 16 for each chord. I don't know why it makes a difference, but for some reason it does. So with that in mind, a little walkthrough of what that strum pattern, what that chord progression will look like is about like this. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whew, I'm out of breath, but hopefully that gives you an idea of what that is. It's basically the same thing we were doing for our second verse strum pattern. We're just doubling it. So we're doing 16 down strums for each chord instead of 8. And then, like I said, that's going to play through everything except for the verses. And the verses we went over earlier. So this is actually a very beginner-friendly song because it's one of those songs that's very, very repetitive, but it's super fun to play and it's a gorgeous song. So guys, with all that in mind, a couple of times through that chord progression and strum pattern, they're going to play through all of our pre-choruses, choruses, and our bridge on Daylight will look about like this without me talking. And guys, that is everything that you need to know to play Daylight on guitar. As always, if you have any questions, you can hit me up in the comments down below. I'm usually pretty quick getting back to those. And again, if this video helped you out, hit that subscribe button. I have about 700 other guitar and ukulele lessons on this channel, and I usually try to post at least 3 to 5 new lessons every single week. So if you're learning guitar or ukulele, there could not be a more perfect channel for you to check out. If you want to see what song I'm jamming on today or pictures of my dog, you can hit up my Instagram story at @thegroovyguitardude. Link for that will be in the description below. Guys, I swear I'm going to get back to some non-Taylor Swift songs at some point, but I've just been loving this album over the last week or so. Like, whenever I first heard this album, I liked it. I didn't love it though. And now it seems like, or it feels like every single day there's a new song that I'm hearing on it that I'm just for some reason like connecting with for the first time that day. And today this is the song Daylight. This is such a beautiful song, and for some reason when I heard it this morning, it felt like it was my first time hearing it, even though I've heard it a couple of times obviously since the album came out. It just immediately, I connected with it, and I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's just a beautiful song, and it, I think, is also kind of applicable to things that are going on in my life a little bit right now, and that is always what makes me connect with a song the most. Whenever I can kind of associate it with something that's happening in my life, or a memory, or a feeling, or something like that, it clicks. And I think that that's what made me like this song, is that it clicked with what's kind of going on in my life right now a little bit, in a way. And so anyways, guys, I love this song, and it's a beautiful song for beginner guitarists to play. It's a really great one because really we don't have any fancy complicated chords. It's very basic chords, and the strum patterns here are a little bit quick, but they're very also beginner friendly. It's only down strums through the entire song. You just kind of got to get a feel for the rhythm. Really, if you play it along with the song, that's the best way to do that, is just to work on playing along with the song and getting that rhythm and that tempo down and kind of keeping your timing on it. It's a little bit tough to keep going on that 16 down strums pattern because it's fast, right? And so it's kind of hard to keep up with, especially if you're a beginner. I was kind of finding myself getting lost in it too. And so the best way, again, that I like to do those strum patterns is to separate them out like that and do them in sets of 4s or 8s. So instead of counting to 16, you can count in 4 sets of 4 or 2 sets of 8. Now, that might not help everybody, but it helps me a lot when I'm trying to keep track of where I am in a long strum pattern like this. So again, as an example, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 for each chord while you're doing those 16 down strums, or you can do 2 sets of 8, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that kind of will help keep you on track and make it a little bit easier to follow, at least for me it does. So anyways, guys, this song is beautiful. Like I said, I just totally connected with it today, and I wanted to share it with you guys. I will get back to some of the new Post Malone stuff and some of the new Camila Cabello stuff that you guys have been requesting a lot. I just am totally on a Taylor kick right now, and I'm trying to share the music that I'm loving with you guys, because I think that a lot of times is what comes from the heart, and I want to share what is on my heart with you guys. And so anyways, I had a lot of fun learning this song. I hope you guys have a lot of fun learning it as well, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see y'all soon.